The National Highway Safety Committee rated South Carolina first in the country for DUI-related deaths. Both police and prosecutors say they think that's because of a loophole in the state's DUI laws. In tonight's special report, News 13's Taylor Herlong investigated what's called the camera loophole that police say lets impaired drivers off scot-free.
You blow a .24, 3 times the legal limit, fail parts of your field sobriety test, and maybe even admit to the officer you're drunk.
You have your ID with you tonight?
But in the state of South Carolina, you can still get away with DUI.
It's just kind of that open-ended and vague, so we have to turn to the case law. And the only case law that we had out there was that if it's not a complete video, it gets dismissed.
I was detecting odor alcohol inside your truck. Is there any reason for that?
Yeah, I had 2 liters earlier.
Okay.
It's called the camera loophole, and it's clearly seen in this video of an Horry County officer giving a field sobriety test to a man who ran off the side of the road.
1, 2.
He can't walk in a straight line, and according to the officer, he fails the eye test. But because you can't clearly see his face, Clayton says this video would not hold up in court.
For a case to get thrown out entirely because of that, it really hurts us. And you don't want those people out on the road just because of a technicality.
I'm going to give you a couple of field sobriety tests to make sure that you're okay to drive tonight, okay?
At the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy, instructors say there's a strong emphasis on DUI arrests because the state is among the highest in DUI-related deaths in the nation.
Do me a favor and place both your feet together for me, just like you see mine are now, with your hands straight down by your side, okay?
But no matter how much time the officer spends making the arrest, the instructor says they can't help what happens in the courtroom.
Ma'am, if you would step right up here in front of me, face me.
I had instructor Michael Brantley perform the field sobriety test on me, completely sober. And all of my steps were calculated and could clearly be seen by the dash cam.
And once you start the test, do not stop walking until you have completed the test. Do you understand?
I then watched him perform the test on a volunteer who was intoxicated. He couldn't follow the directions, he had trouble walking in a straight line, and his uncalculated steps would likely be too far away from the dash cam to hold up in court.
The further away I go, the harder it is to see that image. So just as important as it is to be at the right distance away, it's important not to be too far away.
Stephen Burrett works with families who lost loved ones in DUI-related accidents, and he says he's seen many cases where one flaw in the video means no justice for the family.
Unfortunately, waiting for, in the worst way, another situation or the next situation where it's a real clear situation of a terrible crash, and then no justice is there because of something silly like a foot being out of frame or a glare or a shadow. These kind of minor things should not be the difference between someone getting off on a DUI.
Why do you need to see the whole video?
You don't really, as long as you have other evidence.
Clayton says it goes back to a case in 2007, the city of Rock Hill versus Sachinsky, where the Supreme Court dismissed a DUI charge after an officer failed to provide a complete videotape. But this is only one loophole, and if the statute doesn't change...
Unfortunately, it's going to be the same thing. You know, I mean, it's not going to stop police officers from going out there and doing their job and arresting somebody, but now whether they're convicted or not, that's all going to depend on the statute and whether it stays the same or whether it changes. We definitely need to change.
Last year, more than 100 lawmakers, advocates, and law enforcement officers filled the State House to ask lawmakers to dismiss portions of the video that were flawed instead of the entire case. A bill was introduced in the House that would make that happen, and another similar in the Senate. But neither of them moved after 1 month.
Put your hands behind your back, okay? Right now you're going to be placed on arrest for driving under the influence, okay?
Now, police say they'll keep making the arrest, but whether or not the driver stays off the road will be in the hands of South Carolina lawmakers. In Columbia, Taylor Herlong, News 13.
The Mothers Against Drunk Driving organization says the camera loophole is one that it has followed closely. The group set up court monitorings in 2 of the areas with the most deadly DUI crashes in the state, Greenville and Richland counties, so they will have a representative present at every single DUI hearing. Horry County is next on that list, and organizers hope to bring the court monitoring program there soon.